You've been on private jets, you've been on Lamborghini yachts, you've been to 16 countries in like 2.5 months with Red Bull. Where's that come from?
We found our groove with TikTok, and that's been the main win. I think there was like 25 moments where I would just like be pinching myself and I'd be like, this is a bucket list moment. We've been on 49 flights this year and we haven't paid for any of them. It was a private jet. The most magical moment with the private jet, we just were like, you know, if you never ask, you never know. And then we were like, all right, let's just call out Adrian Patelli. He replied within 20 minutes, commented, looks like these boys deserve a private jet ride. We're like, how does that even happen? Everything in the world is vibrating. And if you want to change your external world, all you need to do is change your internal world first. And all of these things happen. Like, your thoughts create reality. All these things I'd written down for a few months each day. And then all of a sudden, just like manifested, happened. Manifested, happened. Next one, next one, next one. You're like, man, nothing can stop you. It just puts your mind and all the laws of the universe align for you, and it is just gone. And it's literally living in the moment, being present, keeps you younger. And had an extremely magical experience and got a lot of key takeaways out of it that I wanted to. It all came back to like the main thing of self-belief and just knowing that anything is possible. And it was crazy. It was just like, whatever you want to do in life, you will achieve if you put your mind to it. And that was the bottom line.
There we go, we're on. Well, welcome back, Oz. 9 months later. What did you say? Like 39 episodes later, and round 2, here we are, and the mics are working this time.
Beautiful. We're rolling.
Yeah, which is my fault, but we'll forget about that. That's good. So, I mean, a little bit has changed. You've spent the Be The One is fucking going nuts. You've been on private jets. You've been on Lamborghini yachts. You've been to 16 countries in like 2.5 months with Red Bull.
Oh, yeah.
Where's that come from? Where has that growth that's just started to like capitalize? What do you think it is?
Firstly, thanks again for having me back.
Pleasure.
Really appreciate it. Congrats on all the growth you've seen with the Jordan Jack podcast. It's
Cheers, bro.
Going amazing. Some huge guests too, which is so cool to see. So congrats.
It's good fun. Thanks, man.
Well done. Yeah, the growth has been exponential recently, which has been awesome. We found our groove with TikTok, and that's been the main win, which has been awesome. The trip overseas with Red Bull and some big brands over there too. Just like sponsoring the whole trip was just incredible. It was like literally a dream come true. I think there was like 25 moments where I would just like be pinching myself and I'd be like, this is a bucket list moment ticked off. And it happened 25 times in that trip within 2.5 months. 16 countries. It was insane. I think we were sussing, like, I was just chatting to the boys then. We had a quick meeting in the office and it was like something like we'd been on 49 flights this year and we haven't paid for any of them, and one of them was a private jet. Something crazy
Adrian.
like
Thanks,
that.
bro.
What a legend, Adrian Patelli. Yeah.
Like that in itself, I mean, he's obviously made it very clear. It's like no one else is going through this, but you're like, fuck it, let's make a video, see if we can get on a private jet, and then your last ditch attempt, you're like, fuck it, let's go on Adrian Patelli's.
Yep.
There you are, and then you're overseas with all this stuff with Red Bull, and he's like, oh, I'm picking up my Lamborghini yacht. You want to jump on?
Dude, it was insane. Literally. Like the most magical moment. Hey, it just all lined up perfectly. With the private jet, we just were like, you know, if you never ask, you never know. It was like our third time for asking. So we went to like Adelaide Airport, then we went to Parafield Airport, and then we were like, all right, let's just call out Adrian Patelli. He replied within 20 minutes, commented, looks like these boys deserve a private jet ride. We're like, how does that even happen? Then he sends us a message that night, you know, make it happen. Wherever, like filming a branded vid with budgie smugglers in Sydney, and he goes, boys, get yourself to Melbourne. We're going from Melbourne to Gold Coast, jump on the PJ. And it was just insane. You like don't get fatigued on the private jet. It was so cool. You just like hop on, no security. He pulls up in the beautiful Aston Martin, straight in the hangar, and you're off. It was insane.
Fuck. And then like food and this and that, and you're just walking around, you chill, like it literally do what you want.
Doesn't feel like you're flying, and it's so smooth. You actually fly. Like I'm a bit of a fiend when it comes to planes with skydiving background and just like love planes. And this plane was just like brand new, flies higher than any commercial like flight does. So
Is that how it works? They go higher.
They go higher, yeah. And this plane itself, it had this different like, because it was like all new technology, different atmosphere and pressure. So then like you didn't get fatigued. So like, you know, when you're in a commercial flight and you're just like knackered, but at the end of it, this one, you're just like, cool, stable as, like it felt like we were sitting as we are.
Wait, that's
now.
an actual thing. Like if you go higher or something to do with the cabin pressure or whatever it is.
I think it was the cabin pressure and what type of like technology they had in the new plane. Yeah.
What?
It was interesting. Yeah.
I mean, it's worth $20 million.
Yeah, is that right?
I think he said it was.
Is that
20
right?
mil,
Yeah, 20 mil.
So you'd hope it's a little bit better than what you get paying $200 to go to Melbourne, sort of thing. Like,
definitely.
But that's incredible. So then, like, you make that connection with him, and then you're overseas, and then you're on his yacht.
Yeah. So the way that came about was, he was like, "Boys, tell me about it. Like, what's Be the One all about and stuff." So we got chatting, and dude, he is an absolute legend. Adrian Patelli is like the most genuinely down to earth and incredible person ever. He's built just such an empire, and he's just the most incredibly amazing human being. Like, within 2 seconds, he's hugging us, grabbing our ears, roughing up our hair, and he's like treating us like one of his best mates on the PJ. And then he was like, "What's going on? Like, you know, what's coming up in the next couple of months?" We explained we had the Red Bull competition over in Europe, and he's like, "Oh, well, I'm picking up my Lamborghini super yacht in the south of France." He's like, "If you're there, come jump on it." So we're like, "All right, we'll be there." And then, yeah, it was like halfway through the trip, we were supposed to go to Scotland and Ireland.
Yeah.
And then we were literally like at the airport, ready to take that flight. And we're like waiting for a message. We're like, "All right, I think we're just going to have to commit and go back to Monaco." And we're in Monaco like the week before. And we're like, "All right." So we just like quickly switch plans. We're like, let's just make it work. And then all of a sudden, sure enough, like as we landed in Monaco, we got a message from Adrian being like, "Right, here, see you at that time," or whatever. Ran into him on the beach, and then he's like, "Jump on." And he had just had the super yacht for a week, and only his family and friends have been on there and invited us on there. And it's just like, he's such a family man. He's so orientated. Like, he just like, yeah, genuinely is the best guy and has everyone's best interests at heart. He's incredible.
Well, it's nuts as well.
So
like
generous.
What was it when you said, I think you told me before, like you got to Monaco, and because it's the same color as Conor McGregor's yacht,
yes,
so everyone's thinking Conor McGregor's just fucking pulled up.
That's right.
And it's like, nope, that's not Conor McGregor.
It was so funny, hey? Yeah. So we were pulling out of a place called Cairns, which is like, or Cairns, which is like just a quick boat ride away from Monaco. And we're leaving that port, and everyone's like shadowboxing us, thinking it's Conor McGregor. And then he's just like, "This always happens." And they start waving, like shadowboxing back. It was hilarious.
Gold.
Yeah.
Wow.
It was classic. And a bit of a theme with boats too. This boat, right? A normal yacht goes 60 k's an hour. It's like 30 knots. This thing's a missile. We're chatting to the skipper about it. He's like, "This thing goes 120 k's an hour." And it is like the smoothest thing you've ever been on. It's like,
oh my God.
It's actually crazy. There's a toilet in there. He gave us like a big tour, and the toilet, he got a carbon fiber toilet worth like 70 grand just cause. It's so cool.
It's not called a throne for no reason.
That's
like,
right.
You got to make the most of it.
You got it.
But isn't it like, it's got like two massive like V12 engines or something. Like the amount of fuel that thing uses is ridiculous.
Spot on.
Crazy.
It was cool. Just like pulling into Monaco in the super yacht, and all of a sudden just like see some massive super yacht. You're like, that thing is like worth like probably like 150 mil or something. And then all of a sudden he just absolutely gaps it, and he just like goes full speed and just absolutely just whizzes past this yacht. It was so cool.
Fuck. That's
crazy cool experience.
It's interesting. I guess you tapped on there, like Adrian, like such a nice, humble, down to earth family person. It's quite interesting. Like obviously people have such a misconception, I feel like, about people with money.
They really do.
And like obviously through the podcast, I've had conversations with people worth ridiculous amounts of money as well. One being obviously Oscar Ledlin, one of his business partners. And like you go, just this misconception that people have that, oh my God, he's a billionaire, he's a prick. But debunked completely, wholly and solely, straight in here, just like such a giving person. Like look at everything he does. Like he does all those Coles giveaways, does all those sort of things. It's so refreshing to at least him being open about those things allows people to get an insight in the fact that not everyone with money is a dickhead.
Correct.
Because a lot of people with money probably obviously want to hide. They don't want people to know it. So then what people think is they create in their own heads.
Yes.
So he's kind of getting out there and breaking those barriers. Whether that's obviously not his intention. Obviously, marketing is his intention. But like, it's so good to see.
It really is. It's like, I was having a suss the other day, like even with LMCT Plus, like he's built an absolute empire, and it's amazing. And like all his members, he's literally just like so generous. He's given away, he's made within the last 9 months of this year, he's given away $1 million a month to certain people. So anyway, there's been now 10 giveaways, and he's made 10 Australians millionaires just by like being a member. It's actually crazy. Like that is insanely generous if you think about it.
Yeah.
Like a normal everyday Aussie is now a millionaire, which is so cool, thanks to Adrian.
Yeah.
Plus another 10 people, plus all the other things he gives away, like
Dream
cars, houses, other cash prizes. He gives
Yeah.
away $1,000 a day as well in the LMCT Plus. Like it's so cool. Yeah, man. And he's built it, and he's incredible.
It's nuts.
Yeah, legend.
And it's pretty
So
sick,
much
like,
respect for him.
to
He's
have,
awesome.
like what you guys have done, and to have someone like him in your circle now as well. Like
Yeah.
it just shows like I can never forget. Like when I was going back to try and see how long ago we did this, our first episode, I came back and in my private videos was like that push-up challenge we did.
No way. Of
It was
course.
like 4 years ago.
Wow.
And I'm just thinking back and I'm like, 4 years, like what a journey for you guys. Like, sure, like looking at that, like obviously I reflect on my own a little bit there as well and like kind of that progress. But I go 4 years ago, and you had started it before that. It was probably 5 years
Yes,
ago sort of thing
that's
that you
right.
started it. 5 years ago, there's no way you're thinking, can't wait to get on a private jet, Lambo yacht with Adrian Portelli or with anyone,
Yep.
or just do those sort of things in general, partner with Budgie Smugglers, partner with Red Bull, do all those
Exactly.
sort of things. Like you had, even our last episode, it was just monumental how you'd gone from meeting the Red Bull team on the street to then, filming for them with your
Exactly.
media company.
Yep.
To now all these other sponsorships and all that. Like it's just fucking rapid and epic. It's so good.
Thank you so much. Yeah, it's really cool to see that change. And it's funny, you never know, hey, just by starting something where it can lead. And man, it is fun. When people say you got to enjoy the journey, you really do. Hey,
Yeah.
you have to enjoy it. And it's so incredible.
Yeah. Best country you went to?
Oh, Iceland. Iceland was insane.
Yeah.
So different to the rest of Europe. Don't even know if Iceland's classified as Europe, but it's high as up
Close
there.
enough if
Yeah.
it's not.
It's like pretty much on the North Pole. And dude, that place is incredible. It's like, imagine Lord of the Rings. Like everywhere you look, you're driving down the road and you've just got like these cool as moss fields on the right side. Then you've got these insane mountains with just like cool farmhouses, and everyone has a waterfall in their backyard. It's awesome. Fresh water everywhere. Then you keep going. You're like, okay, that's cool. It's a normal beach. And you're like, wait, that beach is volcanic and that's a black beach. And there's icebergs on that beach. Like there's glaciers everywhere. It is the most incredible landscape. Then you like turn the corner and all of a sudden it looks like you're on Mars. Like there's just like these comet looking rocks everywhere you go. It is insane. Highly recommend it. You have to go to Iceland. Every single person has to go there.
Top of the list.
Done. You got to.
Yeah, that's great. And I think that in itself, like being in that environment, looking around those sort of things, this is something actually I've been not battling with, dealing with, and thinking and pondering a lot about is like what do we need?
Yeah.
Like, do I need much? Do I need all this? Like, it's nice to have those goals. It's nice to strive for those things because purpose is such an important thing. But you go there, and I imagine a lot of those people were love and laugh.
Absolutely.
It's like, what do you actually need?
Yeah. I saw it on Chris Williams podcast. He spoke about, is it Chris Williams? Williamson.
Yeah,
Thank
yeah,
you.
yeah.
Yeah. And he was talking about like the village fisherman of his like living life when a rich American guy came over to like a holiday or whatever. And he was like, yeah, talking about him. And he's like, so what do you do all day? He's like, well, I fish for my village, catch enough for my family, feed them, and then have a great life.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, if you got your friends in, you caught more fish and did this, you could sell more and then do that. And then he kept going and he was like, then you'd have, heaps more money and all these things. And then he's like, but why? But why? And then by the end of it, he asked what the American wanted. And he was like, well, the coolest thing is just to literally relax with your family and be in the fishing village. So
Yeah.
it was like this full paradox. Didn't
It's
explain
like,
that too
why?
well, but
No,
yeah,
but it's perfect. Like, why would you, if your end goal is already what you're doing right now?
correct. That's exactly it. Yeah.
Like, yeah, it really does make you battle with a lot of those things, I feel
Yeah.
like. But I felt like this is, and I think as at our age as well, like this is probably the struggle that mentally I imagine a lot of people that listen to this would be having the same sort of thoughts. Is kind of like, what's the point? I know there is a point, and goals are good, and I harp on goals and purpose, and you would do the exact same thing, and it's so satisfying, and you wouldn't have done what you've done without it. But you do come to sometimes sit back and go, oh, but like, what am I trying? What's the end goal? Like, do I already have that? Could I already have that? Like, I think that's a challenging thing to mentally deal with.
Yeah.
But then maybe it's okay to still have the end goal be kind of back to where you are now, but you want to, along the journey in the middle section, still fill it with a lot of other things as well.
True. Yeah, exactly.
Like, I feel like it would get a little bit boring otherwise.
Oh, yeah, it would, hey? Yeah. And then you're in the you'd be thinking, all right, what else can I achieve? Yeah. So it's funny. It's like a full paradox, hey?
Is that something you kind of sit with sometimes?
Sometimes, yeah. Yeah, but I think we're very similar and we're very alike in that sense of we wanted to strive and, you know, make those things happen. And then I feel like it's like, okay, I've done that. Now I'm going to relax on the farm or whatever it is in that fishing village and chill with my fam, knowing that I've done that. But I feel like, you have to get there and know you've succeeded, even though you could just take the step back and miss all of that technically.
Yeah. I wonder whether that's kind of being content with the moment you're at.
Yeah.
Like it's because you could still like easily say, we went and jumped on a farm and did that. But then in my head, all I'm thinking about is business,
goals,
podcast, be the one, whatever it is. And then so, all right, well, then you're starting to sit yourself in a situation you don't want to be in anyway. It's kind of like, where does your head want to sit? That's maybe where you should be going right now.
Correct, for that time in your life.
Go with the chapters along the way.
Yeah, exactly.
And pivot around it as well.
Yeah.
Which is interesting.
It is.
How do you navigate, I guess, on those times when you kind of, maybe when you feel like you're like, oh, maybe I could just settle for these other things as well. Getting that spark back, like, is it because there's a group of you at least that helps you can kind of bounce off each other? So if one's a little bit like lacking that buzz and that energy, you kind of use each other a little bit, or
I would say
you don't really get to that stage too much. Yeah,
not really at all. I'd say just because like we're young and just like filled with so much life, we're just always roaring to go.
Yeah.
And we just love going full steam ahead. Yeah.
Well, I guess momentum's swinging, isn't it?
Yeah, momentum. Yeah, exactly. It's a real big thing, hey. And it's just like, no matter what it is, in like, for example, Be the One sense, it's like reaching out for a brand deal or replying to an email straight away, talking to someone, picking up the phone, whatever it is. It's just like, you've got one life.
Yeah.
Just do it. Play hard, play fast, play loose, and make it happen. What's the worst thing to say? No. Excellent. Move on to the next one.
Yeah.
Thank you. Goodbye. Let's go. Like, just fully.
Do the fucking reps.
Fully,
just keep going.
Ref it out and go.
I feel that's such a good mentality as well, like to take into anything.
It is, isn't it?
Dating, friends. Like if you've moved to a new state, country, whatever, you have no friends. Do the reps. Get out there, meet people, speak to people. It was a prick. Don't want to be friends with him. Move on to the next one.
So true.
Training styles.
Yes.
This is obviously something that we've both experimented with, a large variety of training styles. And I think also that also changes over time as well.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it?
Like you're not always going to be just the gym or just the running or whatever it is. Like there's probably chapters where you change through that as well. Like I see you're obviously massively getting back into the calisthenics. You've been doing that for a while now. So run me through that. What's going on there?
Oh man, calisthenics is so fun. But you're right. It's like sometimes you're, for example, focused on powerlifting and then athletic development, and then it's like, cool, jiu-jitsu. So there's so many like different areas you can go into. Hey, in terms of the calisthenics, man, I love it. I've been a gymnast all my life, so going back to the roots of the bodyweight exercises have been so fun. Sort of set myself a goal of like, it sounds super strange, but like a couple, maybe like about 4 months ago, I was like, I want to become a man within 500 days. I set myself this like...
What do you mean by that?
Yeah, it's a strange like philosophy, but I sort of felt like I'm not a man yet, even though I am, but like sort of like a young guy.
Yeah.
And then I was like, right, I need to have certain things in my life sorted, in check, and then just be like, right, now I know that I'm a man or whatever. So since then, it's just like, bang, diet, just super clean, training, super clean, business, get it, pumping, all of those things. And then I feel like, right, now I can call myself a man. And it's probably been like, maybe like 200 days or so. So it's cool to check in and see how things are at. And man, they're going so well. Like I'm so glad that I've kept myself accountable and seeing some awesome progress in those different areas in like a spiritual sense as well. And man, it's so good. Discipline has just been like all time. Yeah. Recently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's interesting in that as well. I wonder to see how your mentality around that goal that you were going for, you were going for becoming a man, which once again, like it's, everyone's probably got their own definition of that as well. But in my eyes, like it's interesting, just the way I see it is that the fact that you took that step to go do that thing is becoming the man. Like I feel like we're such, and it's the same with like, I do this with relationships. I feel like you could easily get caught in being like, I'll date people when I become that person.
Yes.
It's like, well, well, then that's just a never-ending game. You're never going to fucking get to that stage. You always add a new goal. You always add the same thing. So I wonder whether for your reframe potentially could be like, it's like you're actually, by doing those things, you have become the man, because otherwise you're just never going to be what you were aspiring to be, because you always set a new goal. You always set the new thing.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. It's important to like stop and look back and reflect, hey, because if you don't know how far you've really come.
Yeah. So when you first set out that goal, like what are you defining as man? Like what like why?
Yeah.
Like it's nice to be like, I want to be a man. Why? What is it?
Yeah. So, well, to go a little bit more in depth, to become the 1% man. So like someone who I see as that figure would be like Mike Thurston, for example. Mm-hmm. I see him as like the 1% man because fitness-wise, perfect. Communication-wise, perfect. Business-wise, perfect. He has so many different types of things. Living in Dubai, certain number of things like lifestyle, full freedom in terms of his business set up. He has his podcast pumping, and then he has the freedom to do what he wants by the looks of it in terms of travel and stuff. And then even just saying that now, it's like, okay, I'm actually already on the way. Like all of my business is actually exactly that, which is awesome. So it's super aligned. And yeah, I think he talks about like being in the 1% man. So the 1% of men in terms of like a hyper successful person. That's what I'm just like super striving towards. Yeah.
So is that from a monetary point of view, health point of view?
Correct.
One thing I would be interested to like
put
a
holistic
there,
approach. Yeah.
Like say for him, it would be so interesting to chat with him. He seems like he's got it all mapped out, but it's like that relationship thing. Now maybe he keeps that behind the scenes, but he seems to live a very different life in terms of that sort of dynamic as well. From the outside, I guess that's what it looks like. And it's just interesting. I wonder whether like we can want that as like, is he fulfilled? Is there a level of contentment, like we were talking about before, in that moment that he's enjoying? And it's the chance it could be definitely yes.
Yes, yeah.
I just always like to have that like secondary thought so that you're not like, we don't strive for something that we see on social media, but we don't know what he does in between all of that. We don't know when he puts his head on the pillow and maybe it's just him and it always is just him and what that feels like. Or, you know, living in Dubai sounds awesome, but it's like, is it awesome? Do we know the ins and outs, the pros and cons? Like, I think there's so many questions to still be asked to them, but it's so good to also pursue that journey and learn those answers yourself along the way.
Correct. And that's so well summarized, because you never know if you don't do it. And just by actively having that goal out there and making it happen, you know, might realize at that 500-day mark, you know what? My goals have completely shifted. Yeah. Or, hey, how good's this? Let's keep going. Yeah. And you can only know by trying.
Yeah, 100%. That's an interesting concept. I've found this with business. I've come to this massive not realization, I guess. Like I always knew health and fitness was a core pillar in my life, but I don't ever want to sacrifice my health at the my health be at the detriment of business success.
Interesting. Great balance to have.
To me, that's not success.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know whether this is just like growing up like in a very athletic family and a healthy, fit family, but it's like, what's the point if you're a fat slob and you can't move and you can't do things you enjoy and I'm at risk of dying at 60?
Correct.
That doesn't sound exciting.
No. And you're right. It's like, all right, you've got all that cash, but hey, you can't actually experience anything.
You're broken.
So like, genuinely. Literally. Yeah, you're just like way out of balance.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is the most important thing, I reckon, having that balance in life. So then you have, you know, the freedom to kick the footy with your kids, go travel overseas, do whatever you want, whenever you want. Yeah, I reckon that balance is perfect.
But it's definitely not to say you can't push and strive.
No, that's right.
Like my health is not perfect. I don't sleep enough. I can admit that, and I hope that's like a micro part of my life.
Yes.
I want to fix that, but right now it's just kind of like, this is what it takes.
Yep.
So there is an element of that. There is an element of this is what it takes. But every night when you're tired and you're like, oh, I don't want to go to the training, I don't want to go to the gym. It's like they're the things that you go, no, this is like my core pillar.
Correct.
You just go.
Yep.
That's your standard. That's your core pillar, because that's your you have to see things in the long term.
You do, hey?
Otherwise you're fucked.
Yeah.
You're in trouble.
Tell me about jiu-jitsu. How's that been going?
How
long's it been?
Epic.
Since now?
Like 4 months now, I reckon.
Awesome.
It's gone so quickly. And I just think it's such a powerful skill to have. I don't know what it is like you can describe. And even though you go there and you roll with people and you get absolutely destroyed, you have this sheer confidence that comes off the back of that as well. But also, I'm a big believer, and I've always told people, my PT clients, this massive thing of like, enjoy cardio. I did put something up on my story yesterday.
So
I was like, cardio doesn't have to be boring. And I've always told clients, I'm like, you don't have to go for a run. You don't have to go for a bike ride. You could do social sport. You could do, anything along those lines. It could be basketball, could be netball. Or maybe you do the run clubs. Maybe that is what you enjoy. Sure. Swimming, kayaking. I don't know. I tried running. I was like, nah, fuck this. That is so not enjoyable. And I barely did it. My shins were killing. My knees were killing. My ankles were killing. And I was so obsessed with I've listened to lots of Joe Rogan, Lex Friedman. They're massive on jiu-jitsu as well. And I started to kind of just more of it was popping up. Toby Pierce, founder of Sweat. I noticed he did it. James Smith, like some of these guys that I was really admired in their skill sets were doing it as well. I was like, fuck it. Let's give it a crack.
Let's start. Yeah.
I just quit Jav. So I needed, I'd lost my competitiveness of sport. That's always been something in my life. Always sport, competitive since, honestly, I can't remember a day where I wasn't for me, PE was the Olympics.
Yeah.
I'm that kid, so I need competition. And so I went out there and it just ticked every fucking box.
That's awesome, hey? How
it
good.
was so good.
Just fell in love with it straight away.
Almost threw up after the warm-up because I was so unfit, but it was incredible. And it's just that reframe as well. It's like we said with the training, you just find that training that works for you. It's not going to be the same as everyone else. It's not necessarily, it doesn't have to be one. I've dropped my gym back to 3 to 4 times a week and doing jiu-jitsu 3 times a week. You can shuffle things around and then that might be the sweet spot you can be consistent with because like we said with everything here, consistency over the long term is so important as well.
Yeah, it is, eh?
Yeah, I recommend it.
Cool. I'll have to go for a roll with you sometime.
Yeah, dude, it's fun.
Mate, you'll fold me up into a pretzel.
Yeah, that's what happens to me every night. So it would be nice to do it to someone else for a change. So yeah, it'd be good. But I think, and like you've said, you found with your training as well, how that's adapted over time.
Yeah.
It's the same sort of thing for me. Very, very similar.
Love it.
But you have to push yourself and push that comfort zone and try new things because that's all a part of it as well. It's, the gym for me was a very comfortable place. Done it for 8 years,
Yeah.
Couldn't lift decent amount of weight, whatever. And then so you go to this and you're like, oh, I feel like someone's bitch.
Yeah.
You're at the bottom of the barrel. But I really like that. It sounds weird, but I really like it.
How good.
Yeah.
It just, and you can translate that to really anything in life.
Yeah.
Being at the bottom and just having to learn. It's such a massive learning curve too. Every single session you go to, you're just learning so much. And it will just relate to everything in life.
Yeah. Dating, business, whatever.
Yeah.
It's, you get out of a relationship and you're like, oh, fuck. Now I've got to talk to people again.
Yeah.
You're like, I don't know what I'm doing. Or you know what you're doing, but you're kind of like, oh, shit. Same thing. You're you're in at the bottom. If you go in business and you've never done content creation before.
Yeah.
You're like, fuck. You said you filmed how long for a while for your media business on auto.
Oh, yeah. Forever.
And then you're kind of like, oh, fuck.
I better start switching.
Let's learn, let's stack, skill stack, and let's keep going.
Exactly.
So same with anything. So if you have that mindset to be able to walk into that, I think that's massive.
It is, yeah.
Could be with beliefs.
Definitely.
Here we go. This will be a spiral we're going to send down. Last time we talked about this quite a lot, and you're obviously very aligned with the more spiritual side of things.
Yes.
Where are things at with you mentally around those sort of things in your life?
Dude, amazing. Super honing in spiritually and even just with everything in day to day, intuitive eating. It's diets change, all whole foods, heaps of fruit, heaps of meat, things like that. Just eating what I want when I want to. Wow. Little rap there.
When I want on the pod.
Feasting and fasting, having 1 or 2 meals a day and just fasting for 18 and 20 hours. And I just feel electric. It's crazy. And then just talking to my higher self, being what do I want to do today? So just jump on the Vespa instead of taking the car. Have some fun. Dude
pulled up in style today. That was sick. When I saw you out the window, I was like, nice. That's Aussie in a nutshell. That's sick.
It's so fun. Just take the board, go for a sprint sesh, go for a skate, whatever it is. Just enjoy life. And spiritually, this is a weird one, right?
Yeah.
Been looking into some people who do channeling and things like that. And this guy like gets asked this question and he speaks about like how to stay young, and it's literally living in the moment, being present keeps you younger. It's so interesting. So, you know, for example, when you're in the flow state and you're doing a task, working your business or whatever it is, like skipping or whatever, you're like, man, I feel like I've just been loving this. Like time doesn't feel like it's a thing. All of a sudden it's been 3 hours and you're like, it feels like it's been 2 minutes. Technically, you've only aged that however much you feel. So like those 2 minutes is how youthful you will be. Anyway, it was heaps interesting. So spiritually, doing lots of things like that, like living in the moment and just loving that. And there's this journaling thing. It's called the 369 method. Every morning and every lunchtime, every night, you write these things down. Dude, life-changing. Literally life-changing. Your thoughts create reality. It's actually amazing. It's like everything in the world is vibrating. And if you want to change your external world, all you need to do is change your internal world first. And all of these things happen. Like, for example, the private jet, the super yacht, all those 25 things I spoke about that were on like the bucket list that were ticked off during that time we were away in Europe. It was just like all these things I'd written down. And, you know, you'd write down a couple of them, maybe like for a few months each day. And then all of a sudden it's just like, manifested, happened, next one. You're like, man, nothing can stop you. It just puts your mind and it just, through the path of least resistance, happens and all the laws of the universe align for you and it is just golden. Yeah, it's crazy.
I think that comes to that true belief of self as also.
Yes.
Like I'm not one, I don't massively write things down, but I 100% believe wholly and solely in manifestation and like believing it, this whole like we create our reality, whatever. Like like every day, like if someone was to ask me, oh, what happens if this doesn't work or if that, I'm like, like I can see it working.
Yes, exactly.
I actually can.
Yes.
Like I can see this launch of the app. I can visualize all these things coming together. Right. I can visualize the guests that are going to be sitting in that chair in the future and all these sort of things. Like I don't know how it's going to happen. I really don't.
And that's the beauty of the universe. It just does it for you.
You just, you go through it.
Exactly. You just hold that belief.
Yeah.
And you believe it wholeheartedly and it happens. It happens powerful. Incredibly. Oh yeah.
Are there some things that you're writing down at the moment that you'd be happy to share with kind of what's that vision for you in the future?
Yeah. Sort of one that's happening already as we speak. It's always been my dream to have like a massive content studio and yeah, it's fucking happening.
It is.
It's pretty wild. Us Be The One boys, man, we're getting a warehouse, which is exciting. And it's like right next to the beach. It's all happening in the next couple of months. Doing a huge build downstairs. It's a brand new build, triple complex warehouse. Upstairs, we've got a massive office. Middle is like all this storage area. Downstairs, you got like perfect meeting room, kitchen, shower, bathroom, everything. It'll be the biggest content studio in Adelaide. It's going to be fucking epic.
Yeah.
So excited. Studio One. It's going to be really cool.
That you had kind of had in mind through this journey of Be The One, that was one of the big goals along the way?
It was, but didn't see it through as part of Be The One. So, just keep writing things down.
Yeah.
And I thought it, would come from like a separate business brand, having a product or something, label or whatever. And then all of a sudden, universe says, hey, this is the best way to do it with the boys. And bang, it happens.
Sick.
So cool. So it's really cool to have like the online presence that we have, but now having that brick and mortar business too is going to be so cool. So yeah, diversifying it, which is awesome. Yeah,
well, I guess that's what like I kind of just mentioned there. It's like you sit there and you're like, I can see it, but I don't know how it's going to happen.
That's exactly right.
And that's exactly what happened there for you.
It just
you're like, I saw that, but what's led to it happening, you didn't really know.
Yeah.
It's not what you thought was going to happen.
That's right.
But it happened and it's worked. And here we are right now.
Exactly. How about you? Anything yourself?
Yeah, well, I mean, once again, everything I've verbalized, podcast, app, those sort of things as well. Actually, an interesting one lately, and why I went through my thoughts of pondering like this, like you said, the fisherman story.
Yes.
I really want to farm.
Interesting.
Just to have a place to escape to as well. weekends, holidays, whatever it may be, and then potentially live there in the future as well.
Wicked.
And I think through the travel of the podcast, going to Sydney, going to Melbourne, multiple times, going to Gold Coast later this month, and you go, yeah, big cities, no, I don't like it.
Yeah.
It's loud, it's noisy, it takes ages to fucking get everywhere.
Yeah.
It's not me. And I think like a place like Adelaide obviously puts you in this nature sort of setting a lot more because it's a smaller city with lots of landscape. The beach is right there, the hills are right there, the farms are right there. And so I really like, for me, that's kind of added to my list of kind of want to have that and see that as an investment, have businesses running on there, maybe Airbnbs and all these sort of things as well. Yeah, that's kind of in addition to the other things as well. I think it's just, yeah, I'm coming more connected with like that side of life and soaking up those things, not getting so caught up in, I want to make X amount of money, I want to do X amount of things as well. I had a very like bad relationship, you could call it, with money. I feel like, like I'd hate to spend $5 on a coffee, and I hated it and I'd actually get like feel uneasy spending money.
Right.
And as soon as I led that investment into my app, that kind of broke the barrier.
Interesting.
I don't know. And I'm assuming it's maybe because of like you're investing in yourself.
Yeah.
I spent the money and noticed I didn't die the next day. I was like, oh my God, my life hasn't come crumbling down. Like that was a genuine thing. I woke up and I was like, whoa, same day.
Yeah.
Like I'm okay. And I think so all those sort of things I'm really like thinking about where the priorities are in my life for now and in the future as well. I'm thinking long-term as well, which is quite an interesting reframe for me. But I still obviously want to do all those things business-wise. Like I don't want it, like it's still definitely happening. I'm still 100% doing it. No one can talk me out of it. Nothing will. But it's just nice to have those thoughts on the side as well.
Yeah, I'm with you. That sounds really cool. It seems like all the business things get ticked off and then it's like, relax.
Yeah. But I think it's also...
Or balance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's hard because then also what happens is you go, everything that comes into my life, I instantly go like, how can I turn this into a business of some kind? How could this create? And so I think sometimes you need to try and create that connect or disconnect and be like, I don't have to do that with this. I don't have to be the world's best at it. Yeah. And probably jiu-jitsu is one of those things. I kind of went, I actually don't really care about being amazing at it.
That's
I
cool.
just want to do it. I just want to learn. I want to be an open book. And I think you need something in your life that otherwise you're just stacking stress. And then you go to those things and you don't do well and you don't succeed. And then that's more stress. And the next day you're actually, the things that really matter, like your business or whatever it is, relationships, friendships, you're burnt out for. Yeah. You're cooked. And I think that's where it's at. It's a lot.
Really cool. It's funny. Perspective change just happens so often. Yeah. And it's great because it's like you're literally reinventing yourself all the time. Free will's a pretty cool thing, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah. Pretty cool.
People say it's not real, won't they?
That's right.
But I don't know as well. And once again, I'm an open book as well. And wonder whether now, like being out of a relationship and things like that, that allowed for that reframe also. That space.
I think so.
That mental space to kind of be like, I'm going to sit with some of these things, rekindle some friendships, do all those sort of things and reevaluate what is really important in life. Yeah. And I think for me, where I put friendships a lot to the side for a while there, that lack of really makes you aware of what's important.
It does. Well, both of us actually were previously in relationships and then we've both now single. It always kicks you into gear because you're like, what's really important in my life when you have a big breakup or something? And that's when, the 1% man came in and obviously our mindset started to change. And it's like, this is important. This is what I'm going to do. Yeah. Family's been a big part as well recently. It's like for a while, I was like sort of pushing the fam away, super business driven and like, no, I need to do this. And then once I've ticked all those boxes business wise, then I can relax with my fam. And then I'm like, no, let's enjoy every moment with each other. Yeah. And it makes such a difference. And I think that flow on effect as well of spending time with your parents and your siblings and, your extended family actually benefits you so much in every other aspect of life.
100%.
It's all about balance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's like I've talked about my key pillars. It's like fitness, finance, family / friends.
Yeah.
To me, like friends and family, same sort of thing. Like it's, you choose who's in that circle that you call a family as well. And it's like it's so easy to kind of go fitness, finance and just put them on this high rise pedestal as well. And then you forget that probably one of the big reasons why you're doing those two core pillars is for that third one that you've then pushed to the side.
You're right.
And you're like, oh, fuck.
How funny.
I could actually be focusing on that as well.
Yeah.
Which is challenging.
Isn't it?
Is part of that for you, like, that reframe as well of, like, reestablishing kind of what you see relationships in the future, all those sort of things as well? Like, it's understanding that will take time and all those sort of things take effort too. And you can have all these sort of things, but if you kind of sleep at night on your own, you wake up on a Sunday morning, it's just you, like, kind of what's the point of having all of that as well in the future?
In the future, yeah. At the moment, I'm loving that.
Yeah.
Like, I love having that time, being by myself, focusing on the things I want to do, really enjoying that solitude. But then as well, you find yourself so busy. But yeah, then again, you're doing the things you love because you get to choose them.
Yeah.
Without having that. But in the future, having that person for sure. Because, that's what makes life all worth the while, I reckon.
That's it. I feel like that's when you start to realize you're like, okay, I'm not 18 anymore.
Yes,
like
that's
you start
right.
to come to that. But also, like, it's so important to be able to be with yourself and enjoy your own company and not kind of be this desperate kind of like, I need fucking company and attention.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
Because then you just also like get into friendships, relationships, into business with things out of desperation and not necessarily giving things enough thought and be like, is this right for me? You just jump to that first thing that, shoves in front of your face and you go, I'll take it.
The next sparkly thing, exactly. Yeah. The shiny object.
Which is dangerous.
It is, isn't it? And then it's like, well, yeah, if you're fully comfortable with yourself and love yourself fully, then you can show up for others in that way. And that's how you can be the best version of yourself. And then, as you said, business, relationship, you will attract the right partner, attract the right business opportunities, be there for your fam, it all.
Yeah. I think it's interesting as well, talking with like the most recent podcast, Dr. Robert Glover.
Yeah.
No One Wants a Nice Guy. Really obviously interesting around this dating and relationship dynamic and not being that nice guy as well. Is like, back to your point of like finding time for family and all those sort of things. It's also not falling to your knees for those sort of people as well. Like it's sometimes you have to do what you need to do.
Yep.
They'll respect you for it more also. But there are like, it's that navigating that I think is a challenging thing to do. Like sometimes you have to say no to a friend or no to a family event or no to but it's like if you always do it and you never find time for now we have a problem on the other side. And like they're going to not respect you for both reasons.
Yes. Yeah.
So you have to get somewhere in the middle.
You really do, hey? It's all coming back to balance, eh?
Yeah.
Isn't it?
That's it. I feel like people shit on that word. I fucking love that word.
Yeah, it's a great word.
But I think it's how you use it as well. Like people go, oh, work-life balance. Oh, you got to have balance. I feel like balance can be used as an excuse to not do things. Mm-hmm. But like extremes on either end are also not great. So what's kind of the end of an extreme? It's balance probably. Makes sense.
And then again, it's like being obsessed about something. Like there's moments in time where you got to be.
Oh, yeah.
Like, for example, business-wise. We're at a stage in our lives where we're young and you can just like keep going and you're just driven to make it happen. You make it happen. But, obviously that's not technically balanced there. But then, you come back into balance.
But I wonder if that's just also like if you're just taking this zoomed in micro view, if you zoomed out, like does it all even out a little bit there as well? Like there are chapters where you have to do those things and that doesn't have to be forever. But maybe right now you have to do that.
That's right. Exactly.
And people will probably respect you for it and understand that.
Yes.
But it's like if that drags out for now 20 years and you never fucking spend time with your kids or your friends or your family, then you're not going to have any friends.
And that's out of balance.
Family.
Correct.
Like they don't want you.
Spot on. Yeah.
Is any of these realizations that you've had, like you obviously had that experience, well, not obviously for people listening, in Amsterdam, you tried like truffles.
That's right.
Any of this come from that sort of experience, dabbling with some psychedelics and things like that as well?
I was just about to bring that up, literally. Yeah. So thanks for segueing into it. It's interesting. There's a lot of experiences. Yeah, I really like, I find, psychedelics super, super interesting and did a lot of research into it, like setting intentions and certain things with what you want to get out of the experience. And had an extremely magical experience and got a lot of key takeaways out of it that I wanted to.
Yeah.
And it all came back to like the main thing of self-belief and just knowing that anything is possible. And it was crazy. It was just like, whatever you want to do in life, you will achieve if you put your mind to it. And that was the bottom line.
So just when you're in Amsterdam, that kind of like was something you experienced in that?
Yes. Yeah.
Because that was obviously a very active experience.
It was.
Like you were walking the streets.
Yep.
It's not
walking around
deep,
the city.
too crazy,
No.
whatever. Like you're not like fully wigging out.
And truffles is technically like a lighter dose. So the best way to explain it is, for example, psychedelic magic mushroom, the roots of it is the truffle technically. And then you have that, and for any reason, if you want the trip to stop, you just have a sugary drink.
Yeah, see, that wigged me out. That's fucking
super
crazy.
super interesting. And it's incredible over there in Amsterdam. It's just like walk into the store, everything's like legal, super safe. They're like, yep, this is a great option for you, you know, beginner, new experience. We recommend this. If you want something stronger, we can recommend that. And I was like, no, you know, like that's perfect. And they're like, cool, you're going to have a great time. If you need, just grab a sugary drink on your way out.
That's
Didn't
mental.
need it. They're like, it will last for this amount of time. And it did. It was incredible.
How long did that last for?
6 hours or so.
Wow.
Yeah.
Good upsell. They sold you a Coca-Cola on the way out. They're like, Truffle's not making enough money. Have a Coke on the way out. $5.
It's interesting. Have you ever dabbled in that area? Because your full sense of time goes out the window.
Yeah. Nothing
Completely.
like that. Like I said to you, like experiencing and going through and testing out some microdosing sort of thing with psilocybin.
Yep.
Nothing on a more macro sort of dose scale. Future. Yeah. I'm just a big believer in when it feels right.
Yep.
And for me, like psychedelics was something I'd thought about for a few years now, really, before I even dabbled with it for the first time.
That was the same with me. Yeah.
And I felt like you just got to like, if someone's talking to you about it or whatever it is and they're trying to like push it, you're like, cool, like experience it, listen to that, whatever it is. But if it doesn't feel right, it doesn't feel right. It's not the thing to do. So I kept digging into it a little bit deeper, had conversations with other people, and then it just kind of felt like the stars aligned, the time was right. And I started dabbling with a bit of microdosing. And yeah, well, obviously that's not a thing that you walk in, you go, bang, I can feel the difference.
Yes.
Like you don't feel really anything. Like you don't. Like, but I do believe I've noticed some improvements in productivity.
Cool.
Whether it's placebo, don't really give a shit because it's
working.
You know, if placebo's cheap, who cares?
Yeah, that's right.
If placebo costs you $200 a day, yeah, that's fucking sucks. But like if it's cheap, safe, and effective, once again, like it's, you know, everyone do their own thing. It's up to your own will. Make sure it's safe because obviously it can be not safe. It's not perfect. It's not all those things. But for me, that was where I wanted to dabble with and try and experiment with. And it felt like the right thing to do. And I don't regret it.
Same. It's exactly right. Like the way you talked about the stars aligning, being the right time. You've done the research for the years. And then it just was right.
Yeah.
That's awesome to hear. Cool.
So
really cool.
Like, is that a sort of space that you're really intrigued by trying other things or looking at other ways that could take you to another level?
It's pretty interesting. With the research I've done about it, you can actually achieve it all naturally through meditation. It's funny in terms of like the planes of the existence. It's like physical plane here. Then you've got like, you know, 7 technical planes like astral realm and all these different things of like spiritual enlightenment. And by taking psychedelic, it jumps you and shows you what that realm is like, you know, and then it brings you back. So you sort of skip all these stages of evolution. It gives you a taste of it, says, hey, this is what it's like, and brings you back to it. And you sort of jolt in, jolt out. But the interesting thing is it's like through meditation, you can spiritually evolve just through breath work and certain techniques, Wim Hof type methods and things like that. And you can actually have those naturally occurring chemicals released in your brain and your body. So like DMT gets released, particularly at birth and death. But you can enhance that through meditation and particular breath work and things like that. And that's the thing which you can then have spiritual breakthroughs and certain things, but you can achieve that all through like naturally without actually taking a substance, which is fascinating. The interesting point is, I reckon you look at something like a naturally occurring psychedelic like mushrooms, truffles, whatever it is, and then you look at something like alcohol, right? And you're like, why is one illegal and one 100%. Not? It's like, oh, do you drink? Do you drink? No, not at all.
Well,
none of us.
Here or there. Very rare. Yeah.
Neither of us have drunk for like, you know, a number of years. And it's crazy to think that like how normal it is in society and pushed to drink.
Yeah.
And then it's like something that grows in the ground, naturally occurring, how it can show you like the different side of things spiritually and enhance your life is illegal. It's but obviously in certain areas of the world it's not as well. Where
but
it is
only
legal.
really massively recently as well.
True. And then as well, it's interesting to see like what other type of entrepreneurs and successful business people have done psychedelics. It's something like 90% or something.
Well, Steve Jobs, like he harps on about LSD. Well, he did. He doesn't anymore.
Yes.
But yeah, he used to harp about LSD and how the benefits of it and how it helped him at Apple and all those sort of things as well. And it is such an interesting thing because once again, it would be ignorant to not say there's not inherent risks. There's not cons and potential for things to go wrong. That's like anything, but so is alcohol.
Yes.
No drip of alcohol is good for you.
No.
From a health point of view.
Correct.
Now you could argue social health and therefore mental health, maybe if it gets you socializing, but I'm like, maybe an element of get better friends is probably in there as well.
Spot on.
I can get the push and pull.
Yeah.
Like isolation is such a issue in the Western world.
Mm-hmm.
So if that gets you around other people, then I can see the benefits there. But yeah, there's just it blows my mind, man. Blows my mind.
Yeah. It is interesting, isn't it?
But it's changing.
It is changing. That you're exactly right. It is changing.
I mean, psychedelic therapy for PTSD is legal in Australia.
It is. That's right. Wow.
But I think it's only for PTSD and it's fucking expensive.
Yep.
Because that's combined with a therapist.
Yep.
So, I mean, it's starting to be recognized, things like CBD oils and whatever. And I guess as well, I think for me, like, I don't think either of us could really stand here and rattle off all these science about it and really understand it to that full extent as well. But it's just nice to see that we're experimenting with other things that aren't just made in a factory as well.
Yeah.
Both have their time and place.
They do. Super interesting topic to chat about. Yeah.
It would be sick in the future to have a business in that area.
Yeah, in that field.
Because you would just have to dive so deep into the whole process and really get taken away by the science and maybe run some of those studies yourself so you can kind of control and know what these sort of things are. But obviously there's other mushrooms that aren't illegal, like your lion's manes and all those sort of things as well.
Which you can have in your morning coffee whenever. That's so true. Yeah. Yep. Have you dabbled in that as well?
I haven't actually.
Haven't? No. Yeah. I have been recently.
Big reason because a lot of the brands are fucking expensive as well. And I kind of go, nah. What do you say? Coffee? You dab what? Lion's mane? What do you have?
Yeah, mainly just lion's mane at the moment. Sort of like, last few months or so. Focus incredibly. It's crazy. Like you just want to work. You just like take it. It's almost like your distractions go out the window. Yeah, you literally just put like a couple of drops in your coffee or your water or whatever. And it's just like, okay, now I'm pretty focused.
Wow.
It's fascinating.
I wonder once again how much placebo versus genuine effect as well. But if your output is so high, do you really care if it's placebo?
That's right.
Probably not. Like,
yeah, it's interesting.
I just think,
and there's other ones too, obviously, like helping with sleep and certain things, which I've never tried, but only tried lion's mane.
Yeah, it would be interesting to, especially say the sleep thing. Like I wonder with some of these things though as well, like it's massively what we're not doing in our routines and our day-to-day basis as well. Say when you're at the desk and you're like, I can't fucking concentrate. It's like, well, your phone's sitting right there.
Yeah.
Or is it the external stimulus of, you could easily click on YouTube or open these other tabs, or your PlayStation is sitting right there, all these other things as well. But then I guess what you're kind of saying is that eliminates even those distractions a little bit. You kind of just feel like, no, I know what I need to do, so you do what you need to do.
Correct, that's right. And it's funny, I was having this conversation with Mum yesterday, like around similar topics in terms of like focusing and eliminating distractions and things like that. And I remember like the best way to like, sorry, give me a sec.
You're fine.
In terms of like becoming so solely focused on something, right? It's like, if you do the right things in terms of like becoming and having a balanced life and, having that diet fully clean, it's like, well, it's going to eliminate brain fog. And if you enjoy fasting, then you're going to be more hyper focused and all these things. And it's like, I was chatting to Mum last night and she was like, I was like, when I was younger, we did some tests about like allergies or whatever and certain things. And she's like, yeah, I remember this one thing. And it was called 961. And it's in certain things as like an artificial sweetener or whatever. And she was just like, whenever you'd like have that artificial sweetener, it would just make me go crazy in terms of like behavioral issues. And I was like, wow.
It's like that red cordial sort of like theory, I guess.
Right,
like,
that theory.
yeah.
Yes, exactly. And it was like that. So then if you can correlate the dots and get rid of artificial sweetener or that, 961 or certain like, numbers out of your diet, then you can literally just achieve that all naturally again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the thing is, I think it's going to quite an interesting space to see which of these artificial sweeteners with more studies done on them, what it kind of shows. Depends who does the studies, all those sort of things.
Yeah.
I understand that. I think, you'd be naive to think that whole foods and things like that aren't still better. But it's interesting your point there, I guess, like optimizing those things as well. Like we do still, even in the psychedelics, even in, the mushrooms of lion's manes and all these sort of things, we are still kind of hunting that silver bullet.
Yeah.
We're just choosing to hunt that silver bullet that's not from the man at the pharmaceutical company. We're just taking it out the ground instead. I'm like, yeah, but I guess we're still hunting that silver bullet.
That's true.
I'm like, so maybe I'm doing that thing to avoid what I know needs to be done for me.
Yes.
Fucking sleep better. So maybe that's going to it likely would make an enormously greater impact than any of these little 1% of silver bullets, even if they're like, have been proven to do
that's
things.
Right.
So yeah, I wonder whether we're still avoiding some of that work as well.
Yeah. I think you said it yourself. That whatever you are avoiding in work is what you need to do the most.
100%.
Yeah. And it's always it.
Yeah. It's like, and because it's generally there's the most resistance to that thing as well.
Yeah.
Which would be interesting. Like for me, I know that sleep thing, the resistance is, I feel like I should be working more. And that's painful to then resist against that. I'm like, no, I could do another hour. Or you're like, you've just had dinner and then you're just back onto your laptop for another hour.
Yeah.
But then you're stimulated, so then your mind's racing and then you can't sleep well. And then I'm sitting here and I'm like, averaging 6 hours of sleep for the last couple of months. And you're like, yeah, you did that to yourself because you were avoiding the thing that was going to cause you pain. That pain was, you didn't want to take away the work.
It's like delayed gratification. It's just like, you need to go to sleep early and then you'll be able to get up early and then you have so much more productive, better day. And that over time will equate to life and just better. Yeah.
I think as well, because you get stuck in that, like that whole, like, why do tomorrow what you can do today? But you can't do fucking everything today either.
Correct.
And this like we've talked about, it's a long game, it's a long journey. So if you're trying to make it happen overnight, that's where you do the ridiculous constant long hours. And that's not to say you sometimes don't have to do the fucking long hours.
Yeah.
Or maybe you just have to work an extra day, like work on the weekend, but sleep a little bit more. Whatever it is, like you find a way to make it work. But if it's impacting your health and therefore that's impacting your productivity, you've got a problem.
Yeah, you do.
Is sleep something you struggle with or you're pretty good?
Really good. Yeah, really good. Super lucky just out like a light.
Really?
And just wake up buzzing.
Is that even
Always
if you,
have.
like, do you ensure that you're not doing XYZ before bed or you do XYZ before bed or you just kind of head on pillow, bang, see you later?
Just head on pillow. Real lucky in that sense.
I'm jealous.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what it is. Just out.
Wow.
Yeah. I don't know. No matter what, even if there's a bedtime routine or even if I've just gone from, highly stimulated at the gym or work, close the laptop, asleep. Yeah, super, super grateful for it.
That's incredible. Because I guess that goes against like everything everyone says.
I know.
Once again, that just shows like a personal preference, like you're fasting.
Yeah.
I feel crap if I fast or something like that.
How funny.
So it's like, it's all a personal thing. Now someone will obviously, just give it time or whatever. I'm like, I don't want to give it time. But like, once again, I sit with that choice and I'm like, I'm content with.
And it works for you.
Yeah, exactly.
That's right. And this works for me. Yeah.
But I just, again, there, like with the sleep thing, some people, maybe you have to do that routine a little bit and get off the phone and do those things. Maybe for you don't have to so much. It's like people with coffee and caffeine. Some can drink it closer towards bed and they don't seem to have the effects. Now, obviously, there's going to be people coming out with the science to be like, no, it still does.
Yeah.
But on that what you feel sort of level, We're all personal, different. Find what works.
Exactly.
It's an interesting, I guess, concept. And business, same thing. Everything.
Yeah.
You're just kind of like navigating what works for you there as well, which is a challenge. So, but it's good fun. It's good fun. It's a good journey.
Isn't it?
I appreciate
Bloody
it.
cool.
It's good. Well, we might wrap things up there. That was a really insightful conversation, really interesting. Once again, so many layers going on there. Bit of spirituality, business, training, health. Actually, I know we need to talk about those fucking shots that you brought in before. No, not vodka shots. Tell me what was in those things, because those things rock my socks off. So,
Yes.
and tell me why are you doing those?
Pretty much, they were like a turmeric shot with apple cider vinegar, cayenne pepper, a heap of just goodness, soul boosting stuff. Have one of those in the morning, gets you going. Pretty much, they're really, really good for like fat burning, apparently.
Okay.
And then,
Watch
man.
out, someone's going to grab that clip and they're going to...
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, they got a science proof, that one.
I just find like, yeah, having that digestive ginger shot in the morning or whatever it is, just like zings you up, get ready for the day.
It fucking zings the throat, that's for sure. That thing packs a punch.
It does, doesn't it?
I was like almost in tears. I was like, oh my God,
Yeah.
what's going on here? I'm just a big pussy.
But no, lots of health benefits, and yeah, the diet's completely changed being solely whole foods and
Cool.
all that kind of health stuff.
Yeah. I think that's interesting as well. Like, it's regardless of whether like it does have XYZ benefits and all those sort of things. It's just that you become so health aware. I think this is actually a big one, like through my studies of nutrition and all that as well. You know, how they commonly see like vegans being a lot healthier as a general population, but it's because vegans are just, it's not necessarily that the vegan diet is what is causing them to be healthier. It's just they're very health-seeking people and individuals.
Yeah, interesting.
They question a lot. They check the packaging. They, really aware of how much they're training and they're walking and they're getting sunlight and they're grounding and they're doing all these other things as well. It's not that necessarily the red meat and all that side of life is bad, because we know that's fucking incredible.
Oh yeah.
But like, it's, you can picture yourself a dude slapping a massive steak, chips, pint of beer, all those sort of things. It's like, that's not very health seeking.
No.
So they can find that general populace is just more health seeking,
Yeah.
which is interesting. So I think if you hunt down and do those sort of things, whether they are bringing these astronomical benefits, it's what it's doing as a whole to what your daily habits and rituals are as well.
Isn't it? Yeah. And I think just switching that, for me particularly, it's working so well. Like, I just feel incredible.
Yeah.
And having that feeling just makes everything so much better in life. It's so funny. Smiling even more than you normally would.
Yeah, yeah.
It's crazy just by changing your diet.
Yeah.
They say, your gut is your second brain. And by having the right gut microbiomes and eating the right foods and a bit of fermented stuff and stuff like that sends the right signals up to the brain, and it puts you in a better state.
Yeah.
Drinking clean spring water
Yeah.
rather than tap water.
Yeah.
Huge difference.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Well, that's it. And there's no, if you have to drink fucking water that's not filtered, sure.
Yeah.
But like through some of the conversations I've had with like those health people, they're like, no, like filtered water, genuine, especially, I think they said like Melbourne water, like Nat Kringoudis, she said like Melbourne water's bad.
Interesting, hey?
Like some of the stuff that's in that. So, filtered water, really important. But once again, like it's that feeling, I guess, as well that you get is probably partially aligned with that it took effort. So you're getting that reward for effort, and that's that dopamine. Like Lucas Owen, who I talked to, naturopath, men's health guy, and he was talking a lot about that. It's like dopamine is that pursuit. It's like just before you get that. So it's the fact that you had to put that effort in. That's what gives you that amazing feeling on top of the potential health benefits of X, Y, and Z as well.
Yes. It's those good habit stacking, hey?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like if your business succeeds because you put in all this work and all that effort, like that reward is going to be so much greater because of the effort applied.
Yes.
Same with health.
Spot on.
It's banging. Well, we'll wrap things up there. Now that we went on a little tangent to finish things off there, I really appreciate it, Aussie. There's round 2, and I'm sure there'll be round 3 in the future.
Thanks again for having me, Jack. Appreciate it.
Thanks, bro. Thanks.